Joining us now from somewhere around the world, it's Mike from around the world.
God bless you, Pastor Paul.
How are you, Mike? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good tonight.
Have you been
busy week, huh?
I would say,
Already.
Mike, I would say.
We have a lot of issues that are about to open up all at one time. They will be overwhelming. And
will men's hearts fail them for fear?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Let me
They're
ask you.
Going to have heart attacks from things.
Let me ask you something. You brought up something, 3 dates. I actually promised there was 2 questions that people have brought up to me. It says, could you please ask Mike if he can answer or speak about them? There's 2. One is there's a new moon. We're going to get a moon, I guess. We're going to get some kind of rock that's going to enter into our orbit on September 29th and going to last a little while. What's the story there? Is there anything to worry about or no?
Well, not really a worry. It's an indicator.
Okay.
Right? Listen, do you think that's by chance?
No. Okay. No, I don't.
Because I know I'm enigmatic sometimes, right? But that's not by chance, right? And that's not our doings.
No.
It's not us. I'll put it that way. That is not us. That's not humanity doing that.
So
that's
is this
not
a
the
sign?
space agencies.
It's an indicator.
That's a sign. That's an indicator.
Indicator.
Well, there are much larger things on the way. Much larger things on the way, Pastor Paul. Much larger. So imagine if you saw something the size of the moon take up its orbit around the Earth, right? And people will see this small thing, kind of trapped in its gravitational pull, this, that, and the other. They'll run the mathematics on it, show everybody. But think of something much larger on its way. Much larger.
And you're not even talking about Apophis. You're not talking about Apophis.
No. You think that'll give people a moment of pause? I'll tell you this, Pastor Paul. If there are going to be things that happen that if a person is not biblically grounded, they're going to lose their minds. And a lot of people just simply will not be able to process what they're saying. I've learned something in life that a lot of people who naturally deny things, they're scared to death to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. And so they say, oh, that stuff's not real and this and that. Unfortunately, now people are going to have to see it. They're going to have to see what they thought was not real, and they're not going to be able to process it. And people's hearts are going to stop by seeing those things.
Amen. Right? Jesus said that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they will stop, because a fearful sight is not a comet. That's not going to give somebody a heart attack. Right?
No.
It's not going to give somebody a heart attack because of war. It will give somebody a heart attack if something so unknown, so different, takes up an orbit around the Earth. You don't know if it's a friend or foe, threat or whatever, and people start feeling different. All right, all these different things begin to have.
Is that going to affect
heart attacks?
Is that going to affect us mentally? Spiritually? It
will.
How big is this rock, Mike? How big is it?
It's not too big.
Yeah.
It's sizable, not too big though. But it's an indicator. It's only an indicator.
Okay.
It should allow people, it should tell people to realize something, that bigger things are possible and they're highly probable, right?
Yeah.
We will see at some point, I'll say it again, we will see a second moon orbiting this Earth. And I seriously doubt that people are going to really understand that. Yeah.
And I heard nothing about this coming. Usually if there's some kind of an event going to happen, we get a little bit of heads up, maybe 3-4 years or 3-4. We didn't get none on this. I just all of a sudden one day it says, oh, by the way, you're going to get a second moon for a while. It's just like it appeared.
Right.
We didn't have, so this is going to be an indicator of worse things to come or bigger things to come. Okay, then that brings us to the next question. And here's what people ask me, and I'll put it on the screen. Please ask Mike around the world about the September dates he gave us. September 23rd, 27th, and the 29th. When he said, you can't undo the misdeeds of another.
No, you can't. Well, again, we're at it's the 19th, right?
Yep.
Right now it's the 19th. Already in the Middle East, people have seen the unthinkable, right? So the dates I gave, they will coincide with things that just simply won't be undone, right?
Are they things
they
on
give
Earth?
indication of things? Well,
Or
I'll put it this way. Sometimes I'm very enigmatic, right? So here's my suggestion with any dates. See what happens on those dates. And that will give you the story about those dates, right?
Yeah.
But I'll give everybody a term I've used before. If anybody can give you a date on something nobody warned you about, right? Then that thing that took place has already been known about, studied, and something is behind it. Something else is coming, right? So, yeah, because there's no way somebody can give you a date on something nobody ever knew about. Right, that kind of tears down the illusion that everybody is surprised. No, there are people who have knowledge of things that they simply will not disclose to the public ever. It'll never take place, and they will not allow anybody else to give any information on it. Dates are quite revealing, because when somebody gives a date that matches these weird phenomena or something like that too many times, it's beyond coincidence. Right? Which means there's foreknowledge involved, which means they're working on something, and which means something is in the making. So it's not coincidence, right? These things are known, but bigger things are coming, and the world's not ready for the bigger things coming. As far as those dates I gave everybody, just see what unfolds. See what unfolds on those dates. Oh, by the way, with this weather principle, by the way, weather changes every 4 hours, right? So updates are critical with weather, but we have 2 low pressure systems or 3 low pressure systems that those who know about the weather should look into. They're bringing cold weather with them, right?
Okay.
Now that's gonna hit the heat.
Okay.
It's gonna hit the hot air. When that happens, you're gonna have isobars or high winds that form in certain areas. You're also going to have a conveyor. Here's where the conveyor is. So I give you 2 scenarios. One scenario is that the low pressure system could stall right off the western side of Florida and slowly go in, which means torrential rains. Just like the Carolinas got 2 feet of rain. Yeah. They didn't tell anybody a week prior about that rain.
No, they did not. Right? No.
I think that it was only in the Christian community could anybody ever hear something like that. So the same thing could happen again in Florida if that system, because the high pressure that normally, by the way, a high pressure system can force any low pressure system out of the way, but we don't have any this time. We have one sitting over the Great Lakes. It's not going to be there. And so we could have a stalled system. If we have a stalled system, those other low pressure systems could join in, right? Because they run counterclockwise. They could join in with this big low pressure system sitting over the hot water in the Gulf, causing a storm with it would look like, think of 3 hurricanes, right? In a triangle formation. One feeds off the other, but all of them are dropping moisture in that triangular configuration. We could have one of those configurations take place, followed by a conveyor that brings all that moisture up the East Coast. And I can tell you right now, the East Coast, the inland on the East Coast, they can't handle that moisture. No. Even though it's a drought, they cannot handle that moisture. So that would put a lot of moisture right up the Appalachian chain. And because these fronts are moving so slowly. That's torrential rain.
I mean, this rain, as you're saying, it was Tropical Storm Gordon, and it was supposed to have been done, and it just kind of hung around, and then it drifted over, and it dropped 23 inches, 21 inches over here, 20 inches there in the Carolinas. It was unbelievable. It wasn't a big Category 5 hurricane. Correct. These things are worse.
Tropical depression, and these things are much worse. And so think of that potential of moisture
times 3
going inland in the Gulf, in Florida, going all the way up the East Coast. So people have to watch out for that, because I'm very sympathetic to floods. I know they're coming big time all over the place, but that's something to watch. Every 4 hours, the modeling is going to change.
I'm going to keep an eye
I think
on
now the European model has already altered some even today. It's altered just a little bit today. The USA model, of course, is altered. So the percentages are going up, but the impacted areas are starting to change, right?
Because we don't know we know that low pressure system sitting in the Gulf with that hot water is going to turn into it. And with no high pressure to blow it out, it's going to become a doozy. It's going to be a bomb. It's going to be like the perfect storm. And then you're saying that these other 2 low pressure systems join like a vortex, and then it crawls over the coast, whether it be up in the Gulf Coast or over into Florida and then on up the east. This could be 30 inches of rain. I mean, there could be something.
Yeah, that could be bad, because there's one over Las Vegas, one over Omaha, Nebraska. There's one up north from there above the Great Lakes, one over the Great Lakes. You have 2 more. You have 6 more that are forming right now in Mexico itself. And so as this storm forms and continues to travel up the Caribbean Sea into the Gulf of Mexico, Houston, Mexico, Atlanta, Miami, all those areas are targets. They could all be hit. They could all be touched by this storm. This is going to be pretty drastic. Those waters are hot. Yeah. They're very hot. The central Atlantic to the western Atlantic, the waters are very, very hot. They're hotter than normal. Yep. And so that's going to do nothing but feed any low pressure system that would find itself going up the coast. It's going to feed it also. And then we'll have a repeat of North Carolina, but in all those coastal states. So it's something to watch for. It could have a disastrous potential.
That map behind me,
rainfall.
The map behind me right now, this is the low pressure system that you're talking about. That's not a hurricane. That's a low pressure system we're looking at.
That's right.
It's massive. Right. So this could be the storm of the century kind of thing. And it's
because it could widen. Can you imagine 2 low pressure systems joining that one, causing that one to be much bigger? That's what we're looking at here. Yeah. That's what we're looking at. So, because the protector, which is a high pressure system, is going to leave. Now, at any moment, if you see bad weather like that, and if you notice a high pressure system forming, that's almost like God's relief. When they form, they suck all the energy out of the low pressure systems. They dissipate them quickly.
That helps.
Right? They are a blessing. That's right. Yep. But I fear that, based on the bravado happening within leadership in the USA, and the meetings and the nature of those meetings, they will affect these storms. And what I'm saying is that God is alive. He's not dead. And every action of mankind carries consequences, especially when they agree on the nation of Israel. That's the last subject you want to talk about when storms come into the USA.
Okay. Now, next week is when the UN meets.
Yeah, that's the last subject, Don't anything but Israel. Don't mess with that. That'll curse us. And that curse is real, by the way. I know it is. We should know that by now. Every time we make some negative decision about Israel, we end up paying for it.
You know what, Mike?
And the USA has gotten progressively worse.
I know. Each year, it seems like. So you know what, Mike? You and I are men of God trying to share the truth with everybody, and they will call us the doom and gloomers. But we're not bringing doom and gloom. We're trying to prevent doom and gloom. We're trying to say, don't do it. Don't curse them. Don't do this. I mean, God has set this up. Now, God can blow it away, or he can intensify it. He's waiting on us, isn't he? He's waiting to see what we're going to do.
That's Isaiah, isn't it? Past Paul says the earth is cursed because of the iniquity of man. And there you go.
So it's right there.
That's it.
We don't want to believe it, but it's there.
That is it.
Mike, this has been an amazing broadcast tonight. This really has. It really has. Thank you so much. And I believe people need to get right with God and really get down to business with the Lord and walk humbly. That's the key. I keep hearing you talk about it. Don't walk in arrogance. Don't walk in pride. Stay humble. Stay humble before the Lord.
Amen.
Thank you, Mike, for being with us tonight. It's an honor to have you tonight. Thank you.
Pastor Paul, is always an honor. God bless and keep you, brother.
Same here. God bless you. I'll see you.
All right.
I'll be talking to you Monday at least. We'll see. God bless.
All right, Pastor Paul. God bless.
Bye.